Good evening, everyone. It is December 6th, and I think the most exciting part of the weather forecasting really is the storm system that's expected to bring unseasonably warm temperatures here into the Midwest and the South Central states. In fact, record warmth, unbelievable. Record warmth is expected to move back up from the Gulf Coast all the way into Missouri. Even southern Illinois has a chance of seeing this record warmth on Friday. In fact, the Storm Prediction Center even spoke about, although I can't find it at all on the website, but the National Weather Service here in Chicago reports that the Storm Prediction Center in Oklahoma has discussed putting Chicago in a severe weather risk on Friday. The severe weather risk is those areas are usually the southeast portion of strong storm systems where unseasonably warm air, temperatures in the 70s, or here in the Chicago area in December, we would have temperatures in the 60s, and that was a discussion. They decided not to because the higher levels of moisture is where these severe storms are going to be occurring, and Chicago is well to the north and west of those levels as of now. That's what is forecasted for Friday. Even St. Louis, Missouri, is to the north and west of the higher levels of moisture. But what's unique is that St. Louis is going to be in the warm section, but it's going to be relatively dry. That gives St. Louis, Missouri, a good chance for temperatures going into the 70s in the month of December. That's probably very close to record warmth. St. Louis might be close to record warmth, but we have other cities that will be tying or even breaking the record. I would imagine Amarillo, Texas might be one of, that place might be one of them. Rio Grande Village going well into the 80s, possibly close to 90. I'm sure we will have some spots in Texas that do see temperatures in the low 90s at least. Low 90s at least. I don't know about at least, but at temperatures in the low 90s probably for Friday as this unseasonably warm air gets underway. This is a very quick turnaround. It's really an unexpected turn that has happened at the last minute. Number one, the fact that this low pressure system is going to be going further north than what they originally thought. Because as of this morning, there was no such talk, as far as I know, no such talk at all of this storm system going further north. First of all, the storm system wasn't really supposed to be that intense. It was supposed to be a significant storm system, just not as intense as it's currently forecasted to be. And there was talk of the storm system possibly going further south than what they originally forecasted. In fact, a city like Green Bay, Wisconsin, had a question of whether it's going to be in the bullseye of the snowstorm. And at this point, I don't even know if it's going to be cold enough for it to snow in Green Bay. Chicago is kind of forecasted to be on the border with temperatures actually might make it into the low 60s in the south suburbs. I don't know about O'Hare Airport right now. Temperatures may stay only in the mid or upper 50s for O'Hare, possibly upper 40s as they may stay in the North Shore. As we've spoken about before, the Chicago area has this like warm front deficit disorder issue. Warm fronts kind of just about make it to Chicago, but not quite through the city. And even when they do, we don't really get the peak warmth here. I wouldn't be so surprised if high temperatures make it to 59 degrees, however, on Friday afternoon here in Chicago. There seems to be a higher confidence in Friday's forecast than what originally was forecasted this morning. You know, as of this morning, there really wasn't much confidence at all. In fact, every single computer run of this low pressure system on Friday produced a different turnout. Like every one, they really... It was just a different track. Sometimes it went south, sometimes it went north. And that's not being mentioned right now. So apparently there is higher confidence, and it's quite amazing to see temperatures. If they actually do make it into the 70s, I think they will for the St. Louis area, and come pretty close to 60, at least in the south portions of the Chicago area. There's a chance for thunderstorms, rumbles of thunder possible here in the Chicago area. I think the severe weather risk is going to stick around Cincinnati, Ohio. Now, that's going to be the place of highest risk. That's what I think. Similarly, tomorrow, I think the city, believe it or not, that's going to get the most snow from tomorrow's weather system also is going to be Cincinnati, Ohio. That is rare. Cincinnati, Ohio, tomorrow's weather system has two pieces of energy, one to the north and one to the south. Chicago is right in between, so we will be missing almost both of them. The north one we are forecasted to miss, and the south one we might get the northern edge of it. But the thing with this type of a system is it's kind of similar to a clipper. It's just racing so quickly across the country that it is a little bit difficult to forecast and to pinpoint exactly where the snow is going to be falling, and there's not much moisture with the system as of now. Probably nothing much is going to change, and the surface air remains dry, so much of the precipitation will be evaporating before it touches the ground. In fact, it's possible that here in Chicago we may not see anything at all. The system then heads out to the East Coast, and perhaps the Baltimore area will get a dusting from tomorrow's system, which would be hitting there probably tomorrow night. That's how quickly the system's moving. Chicago really might get in on the action tomorrow night also, tomorrow evening. Baltimore also tomorrow night. But, if I lived in Baltimore, I wouldn't be so, I wouldn't be so sad. I wouldn't be so disappointed yet, because the system really still has some type of potential. Certainly once it hits the East Coast and it has access to at least the Atlantic Ocean. One of the reasons why there's not much moisture with this system is because it just doesn't have any time to get anything once it passes the Rockies. We know that the systems dry out once they go over the Rocky Mountains, and the way to get them going again is the Gulf of Mexico. But this system's going just too quick for that to happen. But even so, by the time it hits the East Coast, there still will be a little bit more to squeeze out from this system. It is going over the Appalachian Mountains. The system's going to go a little bit northeast, and I think the New England area will get even a little bit more snow than the Baltimore area. In fact, current forecasts show that 1 to 3 inches will be falling in the New England area, probably for tomorrow night into, what is today? Monday? Tomorrow night, Wednesday night into Thursday for the New England area. We could get 1 to 3 inches. And, in the New England area, they are probably far enough out. It's 48 hours away that things could really change with the system. Right now, there's also the possibility of a different scenario, but the storm system slowing down and strengthening and producing more of a significant snowfall. But we're going to skip over that for now because it doesn't excite me. It's whatever. It's an unlikely scenario that this should happen. So we'll go on to the next system, which will be affecting. It's really a cold front that's going to move through on Shabbos, bringing temperatures back to near normal, and then temperatures likely here in the Chicago area, Midwest, and the East Coast will be going slightly above normal for next week. There are many places that will be receiving weather whiplash for this week. Chicago usually doesn't, but this time around, Chicago will. We're going to have temperatures dropping into the single digits for some locations for tonight. Some areas may get very close to zero. We had computer models earlier which were saying some of the suburbs may get down to 5 to 7 below zero tonight. But climatology does not support that this early in the year, especially when there's no snow on the ground. So that model is being dismissed. But wind chills do have a chance of reaching 5 below zero here in the Chicago area. We have that wind which will prevent the most intense radiational cooling. And places up north, I believe, are still under a wind chill warning as the peak cold continues through Wednesday morning, tomorrow morning. As we mentioned yesterday on the podcast, the real exciting stuff continues, and you could listen to yesterday's podcast or look it up yourself, where there's 20-inch snow bombs being dropped over in Valdez, northeast Prince William Sound, Alaska. It's, the total storm accumulation 16 to 30 inches by tomorrow evening, but it's being dropped as basically 2 snow bombs of like 15 inches each, and then another 20-inch snow bomb over a short period of time, perhaps Thursday night, bit later in the week. There's drastic differences in the forecast snowfall accumulations. National Weather Service says 16 to 30 inches, but AccuWeather says tonight an additional 12 to 18 inches, tomorrow an additional 12 to 18 inches, and then approximately 15 to 25 inches for a period of heavy snow Thursday night. That's all for the same area. It's Valdez. That's a city in Alaska it's on the Gulf of Alaska. It gets pretty much it's a city which gets the highest snowfall in the world. It's on the top 10 list, possibly even the top 5. And Northeast Prince William Sound is probably number 2 or 3 or number 1. Mount Rainier, Washington is way up there as well. And there's also some places in Utah that are way up there on the annual snowfall for several hundred inches. But that's several hundred inches for Northeast Prince William Sound. Let's put it at that. The system tomorrow currently is over Reno, Nevada. It seems like at the valley. I think it's going to be warm enough for precipitation to fall as rain. And the truth is that I am not familiar enough with the West Coast in general. I'm not familiar enough with the West Coast to really have much of an opinion on exactly I'm not really a Manda Amar on the West Coast. If I have never lived there, so I can just tell you though, on the valley, that's the forecast, that the precipitation will be falling as rain, several inches of snow at higher elevations. Okay, Thursday is when the snow will reach all areas in the Nevada area, and that probably is the low pressure system that's going to be coming across the Midwest on Friday. Lots of forecasting whiplash and weather whiplash, including especially Little Rock, Arkansas, where temperatures are going back and forth, highs in the 40s, highs in the 70s, it's going constantly back and forth. The forecasting whiplash is not just Friday's storm system. Tomorrow's weather system, it's really weird because the past 24 to 48 hours, there's many discussions where they mention that there's an unusual large amount of doubt and uncertainty in regards to the system. Well, that's strange because it's so close to the date. Why should that be? Also, it's strange because they seem to have the variables clarity with confidence that there's not much moisture and the system is falling into dry air. But whatever, we do have stories of Clipper-type systems turning into significant snowstorms at the last minute. These things do happen. Significant snowstorms usually, if they do turn into that at the last minute, it has happened in Chicago. We would get about 3 to 6 inches. It's not going to be happening tomorrow. I think there's a higher chance of those surprise snowstorms in the New England area. But realize this system tomorrow, a week ago, last Tuesday, if you listened to the 7-day forecast cycle, day number 7, maybe day number 7 would put tomorrow, maybe it was Tuesday evening. The forecast was snow likely. Now, when AccuWeather says snow likely, that's one thing. The National Weather Service rarely says that on day number 7. Any part of the extended forecast, it's rare. I remember it occurred during the Groundhog's Day blizzard back in 2011, and they were right. Just the confidence in the snowfall was really high, and Chicago got blasted with 20 inches of snow. But here we have snow likely a week ago. This is a system which went from unusual high confidence. Not only that, a significant snowfall potential for real, there really was that talk, to just the opposite, to really unusual low confidence, and barely anything is expected to happen if we get anything. Thank you for listening. I wish everyone a wonderful night. I hope you enjoyed.